Добрый вечер всем. Я очень рада вас видеть. Для тех коллег, кто меня не знает, у нас новые гости здесь сегодня в маленьком узком кругу. Меня зовут Наргиз, представляю FinTech-ассоциацию. Сегодня мы бы хотели подвести некоторые из итогов. С нами сегодня очень много гостей международных, локальных, наши дорогие друзья, наши дорогие партнеры. Спасибо вам за то, что приехали именно в рамках нашего форума с участием многих коллег, экспертов. 72 эксперта выступили на этой площадке, более 300 человек, приходящих и уходящих. Но я думаю, что в рамках этих 2 дней многие приобрели новых друзей, новых партнеров, новые идеи, возможно, и, наверное, подчеркнули для себя какие-то интересные тренды от экспертов, которые непосредственно сюда приехали. У нас также дорогой гость Тарык Курейши, который непосредственно приехал сюда для того, чтобы проговорить про тренды будущего в области финтеха и банковской трансформации. Мы сегодня решили собрать такой узкий круг, который для людей, которые сейчас больше всего ощущают трансформацию на себе, не просто на словах, но именно ведутся интересные проекты в банках или в финтех-компаниях. У кого-то очень масштабные цели, у кого-то менее масштабные. И все мы, естественно, сталкиваемся с одними и теми же вопросами. Что дальше? Откуда брать ресурсы? Где брать вдохновление и так далее. Поэтому сегодня мы не будем ничего, скажем так, говорить про нас. Мы бы хотели говорить больше про вас. Поэтому предлагаем сделать наш ужин более интерактивный, чтобы люди задавали больше вопросов про себя. Как, что и что меня ждет. У нас будет сегодня маленькая сессия. Я бы хотела сегодня представить человека, который на самом деле на своих плечах просто вытянул весь этот форум. Огромная была сделана организационная подготовка. Я бы хотела сюда пригласить Татьяну Семижон, которая является CEO компании Axioma School. Прошу приветствовать. Так как она была очень занята в течение 2 дней, у нее не было возможности больше рассказать о себе. Это девочка, которая работает просто в области кибербезопасности, блокчейна. Она собрала очень много гостей, очень много людей на площадке. Без нее бы мы не справились. Поэтому я хотела бы дать ей тоже слово, рассказать о себе, о своих продуктах, потому что сегодня очень многие сталкиваются с вопросами как раз-таки, наверное, взращивания навыков. Да? Совместно мы делаем с ней проекты, о которых она тоже расскажет. И далее мы уже приступим к немножко более интерактивной сессии, поэтому без формальностей будем задавать вопросы друг другу, и потом мы передадим слово уже нашему главному гостю. Татьяна, the floor is yours.
Наргиз, спасибо большое. Я очень хочу поблагодарить Наргиз за такие теплые слова, потому что мы это все делали вместе, и она потрясающая. И я хочу... Простите, я немножечко разволновалась. Первый раз,
ты пропускаешь боль через себя,
да? Хочу сказать огромное спасибо, Наргиз. Огромное спасибо вам за то, что поддержали форум, за то, что поделились своим бесценным опытом, своими знаниями, и просто были с нами эти 2, а кто-то были с нами и месяц в подготовке форума, в согласовании всех деталей. В общем, мне кажется, что все у нас прошло классно, и я бы хотела больше рассказать, конечно, о нас, кто такая Axioma School, и вот наш логотип, если что, справа, и он был все время на форуме. Axioma School – это академия, которая зародилась у нас год назад в Грузии, потому что год назад в Грузии было все намного проще, и интерес к теме блокчейна, искусственного интеллекта и кибербезопасности и необходимость в обучающих курсах для B2B и для B2C, он был намного выше там. Погромче. Все. Здесь присутствует Давид, представитель финтех-ассоциации Грузии, с которым мы как раз-таки направление B2B запускали в прошлом году. Делали воркшопы для компаний, которые являются мемберами финтех-ассоциации Грузии. Совместно также с компанией Тезер, которая также поддерживала и наш форум сейчас, мы делали воркшоп для B2B компаний. Также мы развиваем в Грузии B2C, но так как мы находимся все-таки в Узбекистане и сотрудничаем здесь и с финтех-ассоциацией, и с некоторыми вузами, я вам расскажу больше подробностей о том, что мы предлагаем на рынке Узбекистана. На рынке Узбекистана у нас также направление обучения по блокчейну, кибербезопасности и искусственному интеллекту. Сейчас мы развиваем еще направление финтеха. Искусственный интеллект и кибербезопасность у нас представлены для обучения компаний. Больше, конечно, это кибербезопасность, как и представители Нацбанка говорили, очень большая проблема сейчас в кадрах, в специалистах квалифицированных именно в Узбекистане. И у нас получены лицензии в 2 университетах. Мы обучаем совместно с представителями университетов по направлениям бакалавриата и магистратуры специалистов искусственного интеллекта и кибербезопасности. По финтеху мы совместно с финтех-ассоциацией Узбекистана делаем сейчас образовательную платформу. Я думаю, что сегодня мы более подробно это обсудим. Образовательный проект «Финтех 360», который бесплатно позволяет любым интересующимся желающим зайти на платформу, зарегистрироваться и узнать всю информацию про финтех, начиная от истории финтеха, от истории денег, до блокчейна, криптовалют. И большое спасибо за поддержку некоторым присутствующим здесь компаниям, которые также записались для нашего абсолютно социального бесплатного проекта, поддержали нас. Вот. Наверное, я закончила. Я просто думаю, о чем я еще могу рассказать. Но прошу прощения, у меня за пару дней было очень много информации. И если вас интересует тема обучения, если вас, не знаю, корпоративное обучение, личное обучение, безопасность, информационная безопасность, искусственный интеллект, блокчейн и финтех, можно обращаться к нам. Ко мне.
Спасибо большое. На самом деле, Таня еще не рассказала, наверное, про проект, который мы сейчас запускаем совместно, да, мы сейчас покажем его. И поддержать этот проект, кстати, выступили многие из партнеров, которые присутствуют здесь, включая MyBank, включая Билайн. Правда, это не... Да, сори. Мы сейчас покажем маленький глимпс. На самом деле, эта технология бесплатная, проекты бесплатные, и это может быть использовано для компаний, финтех, банков, для именно, может быть, новых сотрудников, которые немножко хотят понять, что, из чего состоят эти компоненты. Как у нас с техникой? Все нормально? Можно запускать? И дальше мы переходим к нашей самой вкусной части. Все. Спасибо большое. И давайте тогда перейдем к нашей следующей сессии. Она будет теперь на английском языке. I would like to now turn into English, if that's okay. And I would like to invite Mr. Tarek Qureshi, the CEO of Exponential, the futurist, and the banking expert who can answer a lot of questions. Tarek, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you. Wonderful to see all of you here today. I spent an afternoon with part of this table exploring Tashkent, which was wonderful. Now, I'm also very conscious that I'm in between you and dinner. So I'm going to make it short, interactive, fun, and hopefully useful and relevant. So I'd like to talk about three things. Normally, anything more than three things is just too much before dinner. And the three big questions that we have when we are going through change, transformation, and everything else that's going on in this world at this point in time. The problem stated as I would do is that we think as human beings in a linear form. We grow 5-10% per year and we are actually happy. Actually, that's not the way the world is moving today. It's going exponential. Exponential means that acceleration is accelerated. It's actually, that is the precise meaning of definition of exponential. So our brain cannot compute, cannot put the whole thing together of how fast the world is moving. Now, you know all of this, so I won't dwell on that. The first thing that I'd like to talk about is the readiness and the mindset that we have. You're going through transformations, and the briefing that I got from Nargis is that a lot of you are going through transformation. Am I right to understand that that is where some of the pain points are? What do we need to do? Who do we do it with? How do we do it? What exactly do we need to do as we go forward? That's the problem statement that I'm trying to identify. Are we ready? Is that accurate? Yeah? Okay. Two. So the mindset is really, really important, and our level of future readiness in our brains is very important. And I will demonstrate it through an actual example in a second. How many people here do you think, amongst you, believe that you are future ready to capitalize on the growth and development that is actually happening in the world? How many of us believe that? One. Trying to believe, which is trying to believe is good. Anybody who believes that is probably wrong. So, because there is so much shift going on and so fast, and so I'm not being rude. I'm just saying that we have trying to believe. Me too. I'm trying to believe. So, I think our level of future readiness is critical. Now, just to give you a reference of who I am and what I do. I have a 25-year business journey. I was head of Dow Jones and Wall Street Journal for about 12 years. I was heading Europe, Middle East, and Africa region, around 50 countries, around a couple of $1 billion business. Then I was the publisher of the Times and Sunday Times newspaper. I brought it to this region in 2007-8, and it exists to this day. And then I was with Bloomberg for 5 years. I was head of Bloomberg Media for Middle East and Africa region, around 30-40 countries. And then midlife crisis hit me. And I decided I've got to do something different because I'm only building other people's brands, and I needed to reinvent myself. And I reinvented myself as a futurist. So now, as a futurist, I'm a speaker. I do a lot of work in platforms and so on. And then 50% of my time, I'm helping companies to transform and get into the future. And my biggest job at board level, number one job, and people say, what are you doing at the board level as you go in? I said, my job is mindset shift. Strategy and data and technology and stuff will come later. My first and number one job is mindset shift. And that's the most difficult thing to do. We have an immune system, okay? When anything attacks us from outside as a human body, we have an immune system. COVID happened, our immune system was protecting us, right? Now, companies and corporations also have an immune system. It blocks anything coming from outside. They block people like me coming in from outside to come in and try and help. I have worked with Standard Bank Africa at their board level. I work with Halik Bank at their board level and helping with a lot of the executions, and several other institutions all across this region and also out of Europe. So I've had experiences working with them. So in terms of strategy, and before I explain mindset, one of the key anchors that I put in there is what I call the 70-20-10 golden rule. 70% of your time, you work on your core business. You optimize it, you improve it 10x within your core business. 70% of the time means Monday to Thursday, just to give you an example. And you'd improve your processes 10x. What does a process improvement of 10x actually mean? Something you used to do in 3 days, now you can do it in 30 minutes. That's a 10x, 100x improvement. And this is the kind of mindset when we do use cases and so on, these are the kinds of questions we ask. Here is a process, and it takes you 3 days to get this thing through. Can we do it in 3 minutes? And that's your first question. Can you go from 3 days to 3 minutes? And most people say, oh, it can't be done. Actually, it can. And that's your core business. Then you look at edge, which is 20%, which are new products, new markets, new environments. So imagine an aircraft carrier, okay? Your company is your aircraft carrier. So there's only so much you can change on that, especially big institutions, big banks, big financial institutions, and so on. But the little jets on top of the aircraft carrier are the ones who can go to a new market, a new product, a new environment, and then win on those. This is the sort of thing we have to do on the 20%. And 10% is blue sky thinking. Doing something that makes you uncomfortable, doing something that's completely crazy, doing something which will help your country, doing something which will help your youth or emancipation of women or something or the other which will fundamentally build your brand and inspire your team. This is the 70-20-10 rule, which was actually created by Google. And the reason I'm sharing this is that all of Google's innovations, all of them, came in the 10 and the 20%. They never came in the 70%. Google Cars, Google Glasses, Google Maps, all of them came in the 10 and 20% because people were thinking outside the box and not stuck within your core business. So if you think you can sit on your desk and try to innovate into the new world from where you are, it is almost impossible. 80% plus of transformations fail. 80% plus. All over the world. And it's not that the strategy is wrong, but one, mindset is wrong. Two, the immune system is too strong. Three, culture. Culture eats strategy for breakfast and dinner. It wins every time. So we need to actually start working on culture. Let me demonstrate a mindset issue to you. May I request one of my colleagues to please join me? Camilla, if you can join me. And I haven't told, are you left-handed or right-handed? Okay, so please come here. Could you put your left hand forward like this? Okay, yeah. So here is, she hasn't seen this. I haven't told her about this because I didn't want to influence her. Now, all I'm going to ask her, just, resist normal resistance. So when I'm pressing it forward, it's just standard normal resistance. So don't let it go down. Okay, so this is normal resistance to her. Okay, now I am going to say something bad about her, which will, let's see what happens. Like, think of all of the difficult moments you've had in your life. Think of the things that worry you. Things of the thing which hurt you. Think that, you had your heart broken, your life changed, something. Think of all of the negative things that you like. And while you're looking at her, can you please throw negative energy at her? Saying, she's a terrible person. Look at her. She's not doing anything complete. Can you please throw bad energy at her? We'll recover it. Okay? This thing becomes weaker. Does it become weaker? Yeah. Instantly it becomes weaker because our mind and our body is actually connected. Now, same place here. Now we are going to say, okay, you're really strong. You're like like a bridge. You're made of steel. You're a woman of steel. And then please throw some good energy at her. She's powerful. She's beautiful. She's empowered. Throw all of that at her. Please throw the energy at her. Now, she's completely solid. She's not moving. Am I right? Yeah. Her instant strength has come because her mind is positive. And therefore, this is about. Thank you very much. This is the power of kinesiology. This is actually, this is real science when our mind and body are connected. So if we don't believe in stuff, nothing will happen. If we have negativity in our company and toxic people in our company, nothing will happen. If I do this group here, and this is my transformation team, and let's say my brother here is the negative toxic guy. Oh, it will never work, and it's all bullshit, it can't happen, and so on. This one brother is going to kill the entire team because the toxicity in the organization will be too much. So you need to start identifying all of those toxic influences within your organization and please cut them out or put them away. It is completely undermining and sabotaging every organization that I've gone into going through a transformation program. They get stuck. Okay, so that is one level of toxicity. So the immune system response is certainly one of them. Now, as we look into the future, what kind of changes do we need to see in organizations? So let me give you an example, a real example that you would understand. There was a study was done in the US. There were 3 teams in basketball. One team which was supposed to practice day and night and throw the ball, do your shots. The second team was to sit at home and play games. And the third team was only to, with your eyes closed, and visualize it. That's all they had to do. The mindset and the visualization process. The first team practicing hard, the second team sitting at home, and the third team with your eyes blocked. What do you think were the scores? The first team that was working really, really hard was at around 80-85% success rate. The second team was obviously sitting at home doing nothing, they were losing. But the third team, which is only visualizing it in their minds, actually were as much as the first team that was practicing. Only in the mind. Never touched a ball. Never did that, but only in the mind. So your mind and the power of your mind, ladies and gentlemen, is really one of the key elements in transformation. And it's your personal belief systems in that mind. There was a very famous athlete, his name was Roger Bannister. He was the first one in 1953 who ran a 1 mile race in less than 4 minutes in 1953. Really important, guys. What he used to do every single day is to visualize that he will run it in 3:57, and he used to close his eyes. His heart rate used to go up and down based upon that he would do it in 3:57. Everybody used to laugh at him. He said, the human body is not strong enough to do it in 4 minutes. It won't happen. Anyway, one day, in 1953, he ended up running. How fast did he broke the 4-minute mile. What did he run? 3:57. Exactly how he had visualized it, he actually made it happen. But the important part of the story, he was a great athlete, etc., etc. The important part of the story is that 37 people broke the 4-minute mile barrier in less than 6 months. So once we believe we can do something, we can actually do it. And until we don't believe that, nothing will happen. So the mindset and the readiness is one of the critical things that we do. So when you're doing your transformations, let me ask, what sort of starting point do you have? Do you do a health check of the entire organization? Do you do a data audit? Anybody? Anybody who is going through a transformation program, have you done anything like that? Because Because what is absolutely critical, and we are doing this with 2 banks at this point in time, literally as we speak, for confidentiality reasons, I won't name them, but we are doing a data audit and a health check to find out exactly where they are, where is the baseline. A lot of us are doing transformations and we get fatigue from consultants throwing out pitch decks, but they're actually saying we don't even know where we are, we don't know our baseline. So, and in one of the organizations I was in, the CEO asked me, and one of the experts we were working with, I am getting a lot of pressure to buy new GPUs. I'm getting a lot of pressure to buy these new computers. My first capex is $2.4 million, and I expect it'll be another $2 to $3 million by the time I finish. What should I do? Should I sign? And because my team is telling me we need to get into Gen AI really, really fast. So what do you think she should be doing? Large bank. Go there and actually buy the equipment at $2.5 million and get another $2.5 million? Actually, even before we did a data check and a health checks, the answer was no. Don't do it. Because there are depreciating assets in the world today and appreciating assets. There are 3 depreciating assets. One of them is hardware. Hardware and the speed at which they are depreciating in the terms of utilization and creation of data is literally vertical down. In 1 year's time, whatever GPU you have bought needs to be upgraded again. 2, another depreciating asset is algorithms. Whatever apps and algorithms you're writing, somebody is writing them faster, somebody is writing them better, somebody is writing them bigger. It's another depreciating asset. So hardware, software, all of these things are actually depreciating assets today, and very, very fast. What are the 2 appreciating assets? 2. Anybody? Brilliant. Number 1 is the data is an asset class. We don't use it as an asset class. It's the number 1 thing. And what's the other? Talent and people. Brilliant. These are the 2 appreciating assets: software, all of the hardware, algorithms, all of them are depreciating. So the advice is, rather than going and buying a big fat GPU and spend $2, $3, $4, $5 million, I don't like talking about Meta because they're awful most of the time, but they have come up with something called Llama. Llama is their platform, which is the Gen AI platform, which you can utilize as a service. You can look at Llama, and you can get Llama and utilize it. If you're a bit less than $1 billion company, you can actually get it at a lower price for about $1,000 a month. So $1,000 a month versus $5 million. Same thing. Probably better, because Llama and these versions that are coming out are getting better and better and better and bigger and faster. And now Meta is increasing the $1 billion company to a $10 billion company, so that qualifies for most people. So what they're trying to do is to suck people in, get used to working on the data, get used to their platform. So platform as a service becomes a key thing. So when you're doing your data and health check audit, these are the kinds of things you're checking. Reviewing your CapEx, reviewing your OpEx, reviewing all of those kinds of things before you actually dive straight in. And I think those are the kinds of questions and problem areas that we need to start solving. How many people know anybody in a bank here? I know you are, sir, but anybody else, sir? What's the bank's name? Okay, Humco Bank. Please tell me, what is the value of the data in your bank? If I ask you what is in your balance sheet, your shareholder value, shareholder number of shares that you have, you'll be able to tell me, right? Okay. What's the value of your data? You don't know. Nobody knows. That's exactly the point. Why don't you know the value of your data? Because don't you think it has value? It does, right? Data should be seen as an asset class, not as just something there that you can use for your loyalty program and do for some marketing work. We are using data for that purpose. It's insufficient. Data is like oil. It's called data is the new oil. The oil price is $80 to $90 today, right? But if you enhance and refine and create petrochemicals, etc., the value of a jet fuel is about $1,050. So $80 is your current data, unused and unstructured and probably disorganized, versus organized data, which is at $1,000. 17x increase in terms of value. Your company can go through the roof just by doing your data properly. I'll share a story and then I'll get into Q&A. And this is American Airlines. Everybody knows American Airlines? March 2020, they were on their knees. At the beginning of COVID, in March, April 2020, they went to the bank and said, we need about $3 to $4 billion because we have some bond calls and so on. Do you think the banks gave them money? They said, go away. We can't give you the money. He said, well, what about our planes? He said, your planes are already mortgaged to the hilt. There is no value left there. You've been remortgaging every single thing, and you're not making money. You're a loss-making company. He said, yeah, but we're American Airlines, and our valuation in the stock market is $6 billion. Bank still said no. So the company that I worked with, and then is associated with Goldman Sachs, we worked with them, and this is about, obviously, 4 years ago. And we looked at American Airlines and said, what can we do to help them find $3 to $4 billion line? Looked and looked and looked, couldn't find a damn thing. Guess what we found? We found the American Airlines Advantage program, which was their loyalty program. Their loyalty program had 25 years of high quality, very deeply calibrated data. Packaged it, productized it, anonymized it, tokenized it, fractionalized it, created insights, created products, and all of those things. In 6 months' time, and a new data core was created on the side as an edge company. It couldn't be done within American Airlines, and everything was transferred out on the edge. What do you think was the value of American Airlines data core alone, separately? Any idea? The whole company was $6 billion. Little company on the side. In 6 months, what was the value of that approximately? 10 billion? Okay, higher. $31 billion before the end of the year. So what they did was create an asset class, and every hedge fund was looking after it, every VC was chasing that data, because they could make a decision based on 25 years of high quality data, all of the behavioral analysis and so on. 5 times value creation for one company by loyalty program. Do you know that Air Canada was saved twice from closure and bankruptcy by their loyalty program? Data, again. So there are many examples like that. The National Health Services has a value of around £100 billion in the UK. They value their data at £100 billion, but politically they are stuck, they can't utilize it. Otherwise, their medical programs of the future could be zero, free, because they could utilize their data to actually make money. And I have many stories on data like that. So I wanted to share that element with you. Okay. Transformation. So let's have a little bit of Q&A, and then I can talk about lots of stories and lots of examples, but anybody would like to ask me some questions on challenges during transformation, what works and what doesn't? Any thoughts? The 3 most dangerous things in the future, generally or within your transformation? Generally? Okay. Good question. I think one of the big issues right now is peace, or lack of. Because what that starts doing is completely disrupts every single thing that is happening in the world at this moment in time. We learned during COVID, and since then, that the delicacy and the delicateness rather, and the interlinking of just our supply chains is so deep and so connected that the whole world comes to a standstill if our supply chain isn't working. A few weeks ago, there was a breakdown in one of the programs at Microsoft. For a couple of days, the whole world stopped. One simple breakdown. So what is happening is that every single thing is connected and interconnected. And large issues like lack of, a war situation or any kind of major activity, in my opinion, in the short term is really, really critical. The second big problem, huge problem, is AI. And sometimes I even ask questions that, to AI or not to AI? This is our final question. Because according to many people, AI is going to be our last invention because nothing is going to happen after that. Because nothing can happen after that. Because human beings have become leaders of the world, and it has been because we have intelligence, common sense, the ability to make decisions. For the very first time, we're creating and producing something which has the potential to be smarter and faster than us. And so we are making ourselves vulnerable. So therefore, risk number 2 is to put guardrails, to put structures, to put methodology in and around our AI stuff, not to stifle innovation, but not to create an environment which goes out of hand. And the third biggest risk to me, the biggest risk, is doing nothing. If you don't do something, whatever it is, however simple it is, we've got to be able to move forward. Doing nothing is the biggest. I'm a bank, I'm okay, I have the money, the regulator is supporting me, I have loyal customers, and I have 140,000 employees, I'm okay. Who had 140,000 employees and went bust? Kodak. Why? Because they said, we're strong, we're big, nothing will happen to us. Bang, went down. And there are many, many, many examples like that in our sector. So doing nothing, AI, and having, when I say peace and war, to me what it is, it has so many interconnected components. The supply chain breaks down, the airline services break down, all sorts of things happen, and the loss to the world is massive. So, just off the top of my head. Thank you, wonderful question. Yes, Nuruddin?
Yeah. So what's the next trend as a futurist? It was internet, then it's like Bitcoin, now it's AI. What's the next?
Wonderful question. What happened in 2009 apart from the financial crash? Something to do with technology. Something happened. Something changed our lives. What changed our lives in 2008, 9, something like 10? It's sitting on every desk, it's sitting on all the tables right now. Smartphones. iPhone came up with the smartphones, and that changed the world. It changed the way we do business, it's the change the way we do commerce, it's the change the way we communicate, it changed the way we listen to music, it changed everything. One invention, and everything followed from there, and we started building from there. How many people in this room have smart glasses that they're using regularly? Anybody? Nothing. If you invite me in 3 years' time, I promise you, all of you will have smart glasses. All of you. The next big thing after the smartphone are smart glasses. And smart glasses are not... so how will smart glasses work? What smart glasses do is actually operate differently. It contextualizes information. So it's not that if I'm paying by MasterCard, a little MasterCard will appear in front of me like we do on our cell phone. We put a thing, we sort of say, oh, this is new digitization of a credit card structure. It won't even appear there. It would actually be the intelligence, the AI and the components within our smart glasses will be such that it knows that we have $10,000 credit available on our MasterCard. So if I go and buy something, it would be able to do. Alternatively, the smart glasses will also be telling us, listen, Tarek, you really don't want to buy this handbag for your girlfriend because it's $20,000 and she's going to use it once? It actually contextualizes your, well, actually I should, sorry, Tatiana. I would buy the Hermes bag for you with pleasure. So will I buy the Hermes bag? So actually the context of the conversation that will be happening in my head with the glasses and the glasses talking to me will actually be saying that. We will go beyond that. You go into project finance, for example. So you go and see a construction site. All of the data available on that project finance will be now available to you. It'll be integrated with the bank's back-end systems. So therefore, any bank that has to receive a client coming in, here's my financial statements, can I have a loan please? You're already out of the game because in 3 years' time, most of these of your banks, all of you, will be anticipating the fact that I need a loan. Because of my behavior set, because of the kind of conversations I will be having with my glasses and with the world that I engage with. And there's this bank in the UK, it's called Starling Bank. And Starling Bank has a software called Zero, and it basically is an accounting API for SMEs. What it does, it connects at the back, so if I am an SME and I want to work with Starling Bank, I plug that in, and all of my accounting is being done in real time, so I don't need fancy accounting softwares. My bank is providing me, and there are a lot of guardrails and data integrity, etc., etc. But then, the bank knows when I need the money or I don't need the money because I am an integral part of my business. Have you ever, who is the #1 bank in the world today? In terms of customer service, in terms of customer experience, #1 bank in the world. Sorry, sir? What? No. Sorry? No bank, no. Revolut getting closer, but that's more of a fintech. Sorry? New bank, no. The #1 institution, financial institution in the world for 9 of the last 10 years is DBS Bank in Singapore. #1, check it out. In 2009, HSBC was #1, Citibank was #2, and they were 49 or 50 in the list of customer experience, feedback components, all of the variables, they were number 50. 4 years later, they became #1. And this is my final comment, and then we'll go back to the food. In 4 years, they went from 50 to #1. What they did was, from a bank, they became a techco, technology company that does financial services. They weren't a bank using technology. They were a technology company using delivering financial services. They went to Silicon Valley and learned from Netflix and, on choices that you make. They learned from Amazon in terms of delivery and efficiency. They learned from all of these companies and came back and implemented all of those things within their institution. So they became a techco. So one of the key things I talk about in my presentations is, are you ready to start thinking like a technology company that does financial services? Because that's one of the ways of the future. Then guess what happened? They still stay #1. Check them out. DBS is one of the greatest case studies at Harvard Business School. And I know actually the CEO. 2 years ago, he said, oh, we have this new stuff coming out. It's called AI and banking. So he said, how will I stay #1? What he's doing is he's effectively diluting and closing down his digital components, as a digital bank, and becoming AI bank. They are the leading players in AI banking in the world today, and therefore the admiration level and the customer levels and so on is much, 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 much higher. So from a financial institution that became a technology institution, and now they're becoming an AI institution. 3 levels. It's their mindset. The mindset is, how do I engage with the future and how do I lead? And interestingly enough, they have an acronym for their AI. It's called PURE. And And what that acronym basically speaks about is for it to, the AI to be ethical, for AI to be connected, AI to be customer service oriented, and if it's not, they don't apply it. So they brought in the ethics, they brought in AI, they're utilizing the next level stuff, and what their statement is, digital banks are ready to die, long live AI banking. That's the mindset. And that, ladies and gentlemen, why they are number one. Telcos are also going down. Telcos are becoming techcos. They're getting into, fincos, techcos and fincos. They're becoming financial organizations, and very soon they'll become AI-driven organizations, and they'll go beyond their day-to-day work. So telcos, banks, we are all moving towards a new mindset, a new structure, and a new thinking as we look forward. So as you can see, I'm plug and play. I can keep going. But any final questions? Otherwise, we should be enjoying dinner, and I'm available around. I can share some of my experiences. Any final thoughts? Let's enjoy dinner. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
A few words about you, Nargis, definitely, and for the Axioma School. My colleagues, it was grateful and it was exciting to be here. It's my first visit with my wife, of course, in Tashkent, and I would say thank you, Tashkent, and Uzbekistan for this very warm. We'll create some very nice synergies between our FinTech companies, between our regulators as well, I'm sure. And thank you once again. Love you guys, and see you, and hopefully see you soon.
Я хотела на русском пару слов еще сказать. У нас в рамках этих 2 дней мы действительно сейчас нацелены на то, чтобы расширять наше партнерство, коллаборации. У нас на сегодня и в рамках этих 2 дней собрались именно FinTech ассоциации. FinTech ассоциация Грузии, FinTech ассоциация Азербайджана, FinTech ассоциация Индонезии. Они все здесь для того, чтобы как раз-таки с интересом относятся к партнерству, и чтобы мы представляли все больше регионов для наших FinTech-компаний и банков в том числе, потому что вы тоже являетесь очень важной основой для этой экосистемы. Все, приятного вечера. Спасибо.